The first thing to fail was the radio. Static ripped through the earpiece, sharp and sudden like tearing fabric. Then nothing. Just dead air. Gunfire snapped from the tree line. Not close. Closing. Dust hung in the air, glowing faintly under a broken moon. The extraction bird was already lifting, rotors chopping the night into pieces. Its lights blurred through smoke and debris, pulling away from the clearing like it had made a decision of its own. Sergeant Nathan Cole stood frozen for half a second too long. 3 men were still down there. The smart move, the trained move, was to run, to chase the helicopter before it vanished into darkness and left only echoes behind. Cole didn't move. He turned back instead. The valley swallowed sound. Thick jungle pressed in from all sides, breathing damp air and rot. The clearing had been carved out just hours earlier, hacked and burned enough to land a bird for 30 seconds. That was all it was ever meant to be. 30 seconds in hell. Now the clock was gone. Cole dropped to a knee behind a fallen log as rounds cracked overhead. Wood splintered inches from his face. His heart slammed against his ribs, fast and angry, but his hands were steady. Too steady. Years of repetition took over where fear tried to creep in. He scanned left, then right. He saw them. Corporal Miles was down near the edge of the clearing, one leg twisted wrong and hands clawing at the dirt as he tried to pull himself toward cover. Blood soaked into the soil beneath him, dark and spreading. 10 yards beyond him, Specialist Ortega was pinned behind a burned-out stump, rifle up, firing controlled bursts into the tree line. His movements were sharp but uneven. He was hurt. Cole could see it in the way his left arm sagged between shots. And farther back, too far, Private First Class Larkin hadn't moved at all. Cole exhaled slowly through his nose. Everything had gone wrong. The mission had been simple. Too simple, maybe. In and out, quiet insertion. Confirm a suspected weapons transfer route. Mark it. Leave. No heroics. No contact. They'd stepped off just before dusk, moving through thick vegetation that swallowed their silhouettes whole. Cole had led the file, reading terrain like a second language, where the ground dipped, where the trees thinned, where sound carried too far. They were a tight team, handpicked, not because they were the best shots or the fastest runners, but because they trusted each other when it counted. That kind of trust didn't show up on paper. By nightfall, they'd reached the observation point, a narrow ridge overlooking a dry riverbed. Nothing moved below. No trucks, no voices, no heat signatures where there should have been some. That should have been the warning. Instead, the first explosion tore through the ridge without a sound. Pressure slammed Cole forward. The world went white, then black, then back again in pieces. An ambush. Perfectly timed. Perfectly placed. They fought their way down the slope, through chaos and confusion, dragging wounded, returning fire only when they had to. The enemy never rushed them, never exposed themselves. Just pressure. Constant. Relentless. The extraction call went out early. Earlier than planned. Desperate, but controlled. And now here they were. The helicopter disappeared completely, its sound fading into the distance until it was just another memory. Cole felt something twist in his chest. Not panic, not yet, but the weight of finality. That bird wasn't coming back, not under this fire, not with fuel and time running thin. Cole checked his ammo, 2 mags left. He shifted his pack, feeling the familiar pull on his shoulders. Everything he needed was there. Everything he didn't want to use. Rounds kicked up dirt near Miles again. The corporal cried out, pain breaking through whatever discipline he had left. His hands slipped. He wasn't going to make it on his own. Cole moved. He broke cover in a low sprint, body angled forward, rifle tight against his shoulder. The world narrowed to sound and motion. Each step felt louder than it should have been. He slid into the dirt beside Miles, grabbing the back of his vest and hauling him behind the log. Miles gasped, teeth clenched, eyes wide. "You good," Cole muttered, more command than comfort. "I got you." Miles nodded, though his face said otherwise. Cole applied pressure, fast and efficient. Blood soaked his gloves. He didn't look at the wound longer than necessary. Looking too long made things real. Another burst tore into the log. Ortega shouted something, more warning than words. Cole dragged Miles another few feet, then leaned out, returning fire. Short bursts. Controlled. Not to kill. To buy seconds. Seconds were everything. The enemy fire shifted, probing, testing. They knew the bird was gone. They knew time was on their side. Cole risked a glance toward Larkin. Still nothing. The distance between them felt enormous now. Open ground. No cover. a kill zone waiting to be claimed. Cole's jaw tightened. This was the moment training talked about, but never truly prepared you for. The moment when every option was bad, and choosing meant living with it forever. He could hold here, defend, wait until daylight, maybe someone would come, maybe, or he could move. Moving meant exposure. It meant risking all of them for the chance to save one more. Cole keyed his radio again, even though he knew better. Static answered him, flat and cruel. He let the radio fall back against his chest. The jungle seemed to lean in closer, alive with whispers and distant movement. Sweat ran down his spine, his pulse hammered in his ears. Ortega's fire slowed, then stopped. Cole looked up. Ortega slumped behind the stump, rifle slipping from his grip. He wasn't dead. Not yet. But he was done fighting. 3 men, 1 clearing. No way out. Cole took a breath. Deep. Measured. This was the point where missions failed and stories ended, where survival became statistics and names turned into folded flags. Cole didn't think about flags. He thought about faces, about jokes whispered under rain-soaked ponchos, about hands gripping his shoulder before step-off, about promises never spoken because they didn't need to be. He checked his watch out of habit, though time had lost its meaning. Then he stood. Not fast, not reckless. He stood like a man who had made a decision and accepted its cost. The enemy fire surged immediately, rounds snapping past him, tearing leaves from branches. Cole ignored it. He moved forward, 1 step at a time, toward Larkin's still body, toward the center of the clearing, toward the place where everything had gone wrong, and the night closed in around him. Cole moved into the open like he had stepped out of cover in slow motion. Rounds cut through the air, snapping past his shoulders, chewing into the dirt where his boots landed. The clearing offered nothing. No rocks, no trees, just scorched earth and broken branches left behind by the helicopter's rotors. Every instinct screamed at him to run faster. He didn't. Running made noise. Running made mistakes. He kept his rifle shouldered, firing only when movement flashed in the tree line. Short bursts. Measured. Each shot was a warning, not a challenge. Larkin lay face down near the far edge of the clearing, one arm stretched forward as if he had tried to crawl and simply run out of strength. His helmet was cracked. Blood matted the dirt beneath his head. Cole slid in beside him, dropping to his knees. For half a second, nothing existed but the sound of Cole's breathing. Then Larkin groaned. It was faint. Barely there, but it was enough. Cole flipped him over carefully, shielding his body with his own as bullets ripped into the ground inches away. Larkin's eyes fluttered open, unfocused, lips trembling as he tried to speak. "Easy," Cole whispered. "Don't move." A head wound. Bad, but not gone. Shock setting in fast. Cole dragged him backward, inch by inch, muscles screaming as he hauled dead weight across open ground. His arms burned, his lungs felt like fire. The enemy fire shifted again, adjusting angles, tightening the noose. They were patient. That scared him more than anything. A round slammed into Cole's plate carrier, knocking the breath from his chest. The impact rang through his bones, sharp and hollow. He stumbled, didn't fall. His legs shook, but they held. He kept pulling. By the time they reached the log again, Cole's vision tunneled. He collapsed beside Miles and Larkin, chest heaving, ears ringing. Ortega was still alive. Barely. He lay on his side now, eyes open but glassy, chest rising in shallow, uneven pulls. His rifle rested uselessly beside him. 4 men. 4 bodies pressed into a patch of dirt barely wide enough to hide them. Cole took stock fast. Miles bleeding heavily but stable for the moment. Ortega in worse shape, blood seeping through his sleeve, his breathing wrong. Larkin semi-conscious, drifting in and out. And Cole, 1 hit to the armor, bruised ribs, nothing that mattered. The enemy fire slowed. That was worse. They were repositioning. Cole scanned the tree line through the gaps in the log. Shadows moved where shadows shouldn't. Quiet shapes sliding through foliage. Encircling. The enemy wasn't rushing because they didn't need to. They had time, numbers, and terrain. They were hunting now. Cole felt the weight of command settle heavier on his shoulders than his pack ever had. He could stay and fight until ammo ran dry, or he could try to move them. Moving meant dragging wounded men through jungle at night, under fire, with no extraction and no comms. It meant choosing a direction without knowing what waited there. But staying meant dying right here. Cole leaned in close to Ortega, speaking low, steady. "Can you move?" Ortega's eyes flicked toward him. A slow blink, a tiny nod that meant maybe. It was enough. Cole looked at Miles next. The The corporal's face was pale, teeth clenched, but his grip tightened on Cole's sleeve. "I'm not done," Miles whispered. Cole didn't answer. He didn't need to. He checked the map once more, committing it to memory. There was a ravine to the west, steep, narrow, thick with undergrowth. Hard to move through, harder to chase into. It was their only chance. Cole slung Larkin's arm over his shoulder, lifting him with a grunt. He grabbed Ortega's vest with his free hand, hauling him upright. "On me," Cole said quietly. "Stay close. Don't fall." They moved. The jungle swallowed them almost immediately. Darkness thickened under the canopy, turning shapes into ghosts. Branches clawed at their gear. Roots grabbed at their boots. Enemy fire erupted again, wild now, angry. Rounds tore through leaves, splintering trees, cutting paths of light through the dark. Cole pushed forward, forcing his legs to keep moving when they begged to stop. Ortega stumbled, nearly went down, but Cole held him up. Miles limped behind them, but using his rifle like a cane, breath coming in harsh gasps. Larkin went limp halfway through the descent. Cole felt it immediately. He shifted Larkin's weight, gritting his teeth as pain flared through his side. His arms shook. Sweat poured down his face, stinging his eyes. They reached the ravine just as the enemy fire peaked. Then it dropped away. Silence crashed down, sudden and heavy. The ravine was narrow and steep, walls slick with moss and mud. Water trickled somewhere below, faint but steady. The air was cooler here, damp and thick. Cole eased them down behind a cluster of rocks, lowering each man carefully. For a moment, none of them spoke. The jungle breathed around them. Cole listened hard, straining to hear pursuit. Footsteps, voices, anything. There was nothing. That didn't mean they were safe. It meant they were being stalked. Cole checked his ammo again, one mag left. He checked his watch again, still meaningless. The weight of what he'd done finally pressed in. He had defied procedure, ignored the unspoken rule of survival. He had chosen his men over extraction, over orders, over the safe path out. If they lived, it would be worth it. If they died, the blame would be his alone. Cole leaned back against the cold rock, eyes never leaving the darkness above. He didn't regret the choice. Not for a second. But he knew the hardest part was still coming. Because the enemy hadn't made their move yet, and when they did, there would be no more room for mistakes. The night stretched thin inside the ravine. Water dripped somewhere below, slow and steady, marking time in a place where time felt dangerous. Cole stayed still, muscles locked, senses pushed to their edge. Every sound carried differently here. A misplaced step above them would echo like thunder. Miles lay on his back, breathing shallow but controlled. Ortega had slipped into something close to unconsciousness, eyes half open, chest stuttering with effort. Larkin was quiet, too quiet, but still warm, still alive. Cole moved between them, checking wounds with hands that no longer felt like his own. Blood soaked his sleeves. Not all of it was his. He tore open his last bandage, knowing he might need it later more than he needed it now. He used it anyway. There was no later without now. The jungle above them shifted. Cole froze. Leaves rustled. Not wind. Too deliberate. A low murmur drifted down from the rim of the ravine. Voices. Calm. Confident. They weren't searching wildly anymore. They knew where to look. Cole pressed himself closer to the rock face, heart pounding so hard he was sure it would give them away. He counted breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Slow. A shadow passed overhead, blocking the faint starlight for half a second. Then another. They were on both sides now. Cole pictured the map in his head. The ravine twisted north after 100 meters, narrowing further, then opening briefly before dropping into a stream bed. If they could reach that water, they might mask their trail. Might. Moving now would mean contact. Staying meant being boxed in. Cole weighed the odds without emotion. Emotion was a luxury for after. A pebble tumbled down the ravine wall, bouncing once before disappearing into the dark. That was the signal. Gunfire erupted above them, rounds slamming into rock and earth, sparks flashing as bullets shattered stone inches from Cole's face. Dirt rained down, the ravine filled with noise and chaos. Cole reacted instantly. "Move," he hissed. He hauled Ortega up first, gritting his teeth as pain tore through his side. Miles pushed himself upright, face twisted in agony but silent. Cole slung Larkin over his shoulder again, body screaming under the weight. They moved deeper into the ravine as rounds chased them, ricocheting wildly in the narrow space. One bullet clipped Cole's pack, shredding fabric. Another slammed into the rock where his head had been a second earlier. They reached the bend just as a flash grenade exploded behind them. White light flooded the ravine. Sound vanished, replaced by a violent ringing that split Cole's skull. He stumbled, nearly dropping Larkin. His vision blurred, dark spots swimming at the edges. Training cut through the haze. He pushed forward blindly, dragging the others with him, feet slipping on wet stone as the ground dropped away. They hit the stream hard. Cold water surged around their boots, soaking their pants, numbing already exhausted muscles. Cole splashed forward, forcing them into the current, wading upstream instead of down. Every step burned. Every breath tasted like metal. The gunfire faded, replaced by shouting somewhere behind them. Confused now. Frustrated. Cole led them into a tangle of overhanging roots and vines, pressing them into the bank until they were half submerged, water lapping at their chests. They waited. Seconds stretched into minutes. The ringing in Cole's ears slowly faded, replaced by the soft rush of water and the distant crack of branches. Lights flickered along the ravine rim, beams cutting through darkness, searching. One passed over them. Cole didn't blink. The beam moved on. Another followed, closer this time. Cole felt his heart slam against his ribs, loud enough to drown out everything else. He tightened his grip on his rifle, finger resting against the trigger, knowing that if it came to it, he'd fire until there was nothing left. The light lingered, then disappeared. Footsteps retreated, voices faded. The jungle swallowed them again. Cole stayed still long after the sounds were gone. He didn't trust silence anymore. When he finally moved, it was slow, careful. He eased Larkin down, checking his pulse, weak but there. Miles gave him a tired look, something close to a smile pulling at one corner of his mouth. "You didn't leave us," Miles whispered. Cole shook his head once. He didn't answer. There was nothing to say. They rested there until dawn threatened the horizon with the faintest hint of gray. Cole knew daylight would be both blessing and curse. Visibility would improve. So would the enemies. They couldn't stay. Cole made the call. They moved again, following the stream until it widened, then cutting away into thicker cover. Progress was slow. Pain became constant background noise. Cole's ribs throbbed with every step. His arms felt like lead, but they moved. Hours passed. At some point, Ortega woke enough to help himself, leaning heavily on Cole but moving under his own power. Larkin stirred, mumbling incoherently, fingers twitching against Cole's sleeve. The jungle began to thin. Cole heard it before he saw it. The distant thump of rotors. Not close. Not yet, but real. He froze, listening. It came again, louder this time. Cole keyed his radio, thumb pressing the button so hard it hurt. "Any station," he said, voice hoarse. "Any station. This is ground element. We are alive." Static. Then, faint, broken, but unmistakable, a voice cut through. "Say again." Cole closed his eyes. He repeated the call, forcing the words out steady and clear, gave their location without details, without desperation. There was a pause, too long. Then the voice came back, stronger now. "Hold position." Cole didn't sit down. He didn't relax. He just nodded once to no one and turned back to his men. The hardest part wasn't over, but for the first time since the helicopter lifted away, hope wasn't just an idea. It was sound, and it was coming closer. The rotors grew louder, beating the air in slow, heavy pulses that carried through the thinning trees. Cole raised a clenched fist, signaling a halt. The team froze where they stood, bodies swaying with exhaustion, breaths shallow and uneven. Hope was dangerous now. Hope made people careless. He scanned the terrain with tired eyes. A narrow rise ahead, sparse trees, just enough open ground for a bird to drop in fast and lift off faster. It was the kind of landing zone no pilot liked. It was the only one they had. Cole guided them forward, step by step, until they reached the rise. He lowered Larkin carefully, easing him onto his side. Miles dropped beside him, hands shaking as he braced himself on his rifle. Ortega sank to one knee, head bowed, fighting to stay upright. Cole keyed the radio again. "We're set," he said. "Pop smoke on my mark." The helicopter's sound swelled, close enough now to feel in the chest. Leaves whipped and spun as the bird broke through the canopy, hovering just beyond the ridgeline, waiting. Cole pulled the smoke grenade free. For a brief moment, everything slowed. He thought about the clearing, about the second the helicopter lifted without them, about the choice he'd made without asking permission from anyone but himself. He pulled the pin. Purple smoke bloomed into the air, thick and unmistakable, curling upward like a signal flare against the green and gray world. Gunfire erupted instantly. Rounds snapped through branches, slamming into dirt around them. The enemy had been closer than Cole thought. Waiting. Watching. Contact! Miles shouted, raising his rifle despite the pain. Cole moved on instinct, stepping in front of his men, firing toward the muzzle flashes breaking through the tree line. The helicopter surged forward, rotors screaming, door gun spitting fire to suppress the enemy. The world exploded into noise. Cole felt another impact slam into his side, harder this time. Not the dull punch of armor. Sharp, real. His leg buckled. He went down on one knee, breath tearing out of him in a broken gasp. Warmth spread down his thigh. His vision wavered, dark at the edges. He forced himself up. There was no room to fall now. The helicopter settled hard, skids biting into the dirt. Crew shouted from inside, arms waving, urging them forward. Cole grabbed Larkin first, hauling him up with strength he didn't know he still had. Ortega moved on his own, stumbling but determined. Miles covered them, firing short bursts, jaw clenched against the pain. Rounds tore through the smoke. One ripped through Miles's shoulder, spinning him sideways. Cole dropped Larkin and lunged, catching Miles before he hit the ground. Miles' rifle slipped from his hands, clattering uselessly. "I'm good," Miles gasped. He wasn't. Cole dragged him anyway. The distance to the bird felt endless. Every step sent lightning through Cole's wounded leg. His vision narrowed to a tunnel, sound fading in and out like he was underwater. The door gun thundered overhead, shaking the air. Dirt and debris rained down as the helicopter fought to stay grounded under fire. Ortega reached the ramp and collapsed inside, hands grabbing blindly for purchase. Crew pulled him in. Cole shoved Miles forward next, lifting with everything he had left. Miles disappeared into the aircraft, hands reaching back as if to help. Cole turned for Larkin. He took 2 steps, then his leg gave out completely. Cole hit the dirt hard, pain exploding up his spine. His rifle skidded out of reach. Smoke burned his eyes. The world tilted. Gunfire intensified. He saw boots moving toward him through the haze. Dark shapes, close now. Cole rolled onto his back, drawing his sidearm with shaking hands. He fired once, twice, 3 times. The slide locked back, empty. A shadow loomed. Then it vanished. The helicopter surged forward, rotors screaming as the crew chief leaned out, firing point blank into the tree line. A hand grabbed Cole's vest, yanking him off the ground. Cole felt himself lifted, dragged, then thrown onto the metal floor of the aircraft. The ramp slammed shut. The helicopter climbed hard, banking away as rounds chased them into the sky. Only when the noise began to fade did Cole allow himself to stop moving. He lay on his back, staring at the ceiling, chest heaving, body trembling with exhaustion and shock. Blood pooled beneath his legs, spreading across the floor in dark streaks. Hands pressed down on him. Voices shouted. Someone cut away fabric. Cole barely registered any of it. His eyes drifted to his men. Miles lay strapped to a stretcher, pale but breathing. Ortega sat slumped against the wall, eyes closed, lips moving silently in prayer or pain. Larkin lay still, oxygen mask fogging faintly with each breath. They were alive. That was enough. Cole's vision dimmed, darkness closing in like a curtain being drawn. The next time he opened his eyes, light filled the space around him. Clean light. Quiet light. The steady rhythm of machines replaced the chaos of gunfire and rotors. He was in a medical tent. Pain pulsed through his body, distant and dull now. His leg was wrapped, elevated. His chest ached with every breath. A figure stood nearby, arms crossed, watching him. "Your team made it," the voice said, calm, respectful. "All of them." Cole swallowed, throat dry. "Good," he whispered. The figure nodded. "You ignored extraction orders." Cole didn't respond. "You went back," the voice continued. "You stayed when you were told to leave." Cole turned his head slightly, staring at the canvas ceiling. "They were still there," he said simply. There was silence for a moment. Then footsteps moved away. Cole closed his eyes. Weeks later, the jungle felt far away, like something that had happened to someone else. His leg would heal, slowly, painfully, but it would heal. His men would recover too. There were no speeches, no cameras, no medals handed out in dramatic fashion, just quiet handshakes, long looks, a shared understanding that didn't need words. What Cole did would never make headlines. But somewhere in the dark, on a night when everything went wrong, one soldier refused to abandon his team. And because of that refusal, 4 men walked out of a place where they were never supposed to survive. Some decisions are never written down. They live only in the people who were there. And they last longer than any order ever could.